Before we get started, I know a lot of you have been asking us our opinions on it. Infinity War and all the other superhero films that came out this season. Since we're talking about a superhero film, we might as well just do like 5-second reviews of each one. So June's gonna read the list.
Okay.
Let's go.
Deadpool 2.
Not as good as Deadpool 1. Everything that was good about Deadpool 1, they continued, but it wasn't surprising, so there's no novelty to it.
Incredibles.
Oh, we're gonna review Incredibles. Oh, we're gonna get to it.
Ant-Man vs. the Wasp.
Boring, pointless.
Entomans. Altoids.
Product placement and plot holes.
It was bad. Maybe we should review it in the
was
future
like a
when it
4.
comes out. Yeah. Definitely, it was like a DC movie for Marvel. It was really bad. Infinity War.
Describe Infinity War in one sentence.
I don't feel so good.
My answer is, where are the war rhinos?
Oh, no.
They would have been real handy, right? The war rhinos?
No, we don't speak of those.
Why didn't they call?
We do not
Why
speak
didn't they
of
call
them.
on their trusty war rhinos?
We do not speak of the war rhinos. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Night at the Movies. I am your host. Shoot, what did I fucked it up? Look at me. I am the host now. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Night at the Movies. I'm June, this is Greg, and tonight we saw Venom. Is that good?
I'm Eddie Brock. I'm a reporter. I always seem to find myself questioning something the government may not be looking at.
So, on 3, say your opinion of this movie.
Oh, okay.
We don't talk to each other before we do this, so 1, 2, 3.
I loved it. It was so incompetent that it was a masterpiece of failure. Everything was wrong and terrible and poorly handled to the point where I couldn't stop laughing the entire time.
Honestly, this movie is like almost a guilty pleasure for me now. It was like a so good it's bad type of bad. Do you agree? Or do you think it was so bad it's bad?
It almost, I mean, there are a lot of scenes that drag it down. There are a lot of scenes that are so cringy that you wish you could just skip
Takes
them.
you out of the movie. Yes!
But
I wanted to like...
there are so many scenes that are hilariously terrible that I think it ascends just enough into the so bad it's good.
I can almost say that it's self-aware, but it's Sony, so I don't know if it's self-aware.
Well, that's the problem, is you gotta look at Sony's track record. First of all, our theater going experience wasn't great.
Oh, yeah.
Both of our fucking recliner chairs broke.
Just broke. They just broke.
Straight up broke.
They were fine in the beginning, but then they just broke. Kind of like this movie.
I should have known, because on the seat selection thing on the Cineplex Odeon website, there were 2 broken chairs next to our seats. We are also in the smallest theater in the Cineplex.
Oh yeah, that was a bad sign when they point us to the small theater and this movie's like 4 days old.
And I gotta say, Cineplex Odeon on Gardeners Road in Kingston, Ontario.
Wow.
This is a direct customer review. Every single time I go to watch a Sony movie in your theater, something fucks up. Spider-Man 3 was the first time. The projector kept turning off randomly. I got a free movie out of that, at least. Do you remember Ghostbusters?
I want to forget.
The 3D projector was completely unfocused. Even with the 3D glasses on, there were 2 distinct images on the screen. And this time, I think it was just a focus problem again. I was checking, I'd switch from eye to
I wasn't sure
eye.
if it was because of my eyes
And there was a double image on both sides all the
were
time. Plus on top of that, the cinematography was really shit. Everything was like foggy and like, you know what a bloom effect is? There was lots of bloom effect. I don't know what this new trend of terrible cinematography is, but Hollywood, please stop, because I prefer to see what's on the screen.
The tea is just scalding hot tonight, baby. Damn! What is going on? It's a direct call out to the theater that we go to all the time.
Yeah.
Maybe you should bleep that.
Nope. Get your shit together, or we're gonna go to the fucking IMAX on the other end of town.
Is that a threat? Because that theater is really good. Maybe we should just go
It
there
is
all the
actually,
time.
it is legitimately better. The only reason we don't go to it is because it's further away.
The only reason we went to it was because your car's headlights literally don't turn off, so we couldn't see a drive-in movie. By the way, that's how that went.
Yeah, next time we'll get some rugs or something to put over the headlights.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Anyways, I think we're getting off topic.
A little bit.
So Venom. Okay, so this movie never should have even been made. It's amazing that it was even made at all. Disney gave Sony the best deal ever. After the Raimi trilogy was over and they made those fucking awful Amazing Spider-Man movies that they had the wherewithal to cancel before they got to the third movie, which thank God they did, because the plot summary of that one sounded like a fucking nightmare. Gwen Stacy comes back to life.
Oh, okay.
And Spider-Man has the ability to bring people back to life.
Okay.
So anyways, Spider-Man was just a guaranteed failure. What's the opposite of the Midas touch? Because that's what fucking Sony has. Basically everything they've ever made since Spider-Man 2 was a fucking failure.
Why are they so bad? Why are they so bad?
All Sony had to do was sit there and do nothing and just rake in the dough. Is that what they do? No. They decided to spend all that money that they made off of Spider-Man Homecoming to start producing a series of Spider-Man movies that don't have Spider-Man in them. Why? You're fucking it up, Sony. You're fucking up your free ride.
I found something really bad. And I have been... Who said that? Taken.
Venom only really makes sense as the antithesis to Spider-Man. He's like Spider-Man, literally Spider-Man's internal demon. He knows everything about Spider-Man because he was Spider-Man. Eddie Brock and Venom both at the same time develop a hatred for Peter Parker / Spider-Man. And then when they amalgamate together, it's like an amalgamation of hatred towards Spider-Man. So remove that context from Venom, and there's no point, because then what you need to do is make Eddie Brock a likable character. Did you like him?
Yeah, he was the only good part of this movie. I loved the character. I loved Tom Hardy did a great job. He was the only competent thing in this movie. Would you agree?
I'll admit that I am not a fan of Tom Hardy. Usually I hate
Really?
his role,
think he
whatever
does
his
good.
role ends up being. I didn't really laugh at the parts that you're supposed to laugh at. I think maybe 1 or 2 times I did.
Okay, you're gonna be mad at me because in literally every review we ever do ever, I bring it back to Always Sunny. But Tom Hardy's character in this movie, for the whole movie, he was literally Charlie Kelly in that episode, the Christmas episode, where he thinks that Santa Claus fucked his mom.
So, son, what would you like for Christmas, huh?
Did you fuck my mom?
That is Tom Hardy for this whole movie. He did a good job of being that.
Is he retarded?
You fucked my mom, Santa!
Like for the whole movie, he was just like drunk Charlie Kelly.
I don't want it to sound like I didn't like it because it's too different. I understood that they had to change it because, again, the context doesn't make sense without Spider-Man. But I found the character to be unrelatable. I found him to be a slob, completely disengaged. And I don't think the movie did a very good job of setting up why we should care about his character at all. His fuck up was such a colossal fuck up, the thing that got him to lose his job.
Yeah, he literally looked at classified files.
We see his fall from grace at the beginning, which is the big part of Eddie Brock's character. He's supposed to be this big reporter that ends up losing his job and his girlfriend and his apartment and everything that he cared about. But what made that cool with Venom is that it made him angry and hateful and spiteful.
Just made him sad.
And then it was this fuel to make him like build his muscles up and basically destroy Peter Parker's life. But instead, Eddie Brock, he's the good guy. Venom's the bad guy, and then there's an even badderer guy.
Oh, we'll get to that, please.
Is there like a movie that you would compare this one to? Is there something else you can think of that it's like?
Ghost Rider.
Which one? One or two?
Oh, there's two?
It's sort of like a Nicolas Cage movie.
Yes!
It's like if Nicolas Cage wrote and directed a weird remake of Jim Carrey's The Mask.
Yes. Yes. What the fuck? What was this?
The billionaire science lab owning guy that had the Venom symbiote. He confronted him about some other like inhumane things that he did, which is his job. He's supposed to do that, but he seemed like disengaged, like he didn't really care. It didn't seem like he was doing it because he cared about the things that he was reporting. Seemed to do it because he didn't give a fuck. His ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend is like, "Oh, you're such a cool guy. I love all those people you took down. You're such an awesome guy." Except he didn't do it because he cared. Again, it seems like he does it because he doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, I mean, like, I had empathy for his character. Like, I felt bad for him. Like, he lost, like, everything in one day. Like, he's not relatable, but he's supposed to be, like, a loser, and...
That's the problem, is that he's a loser.
and he's not relatable to you. Therefore.
No.
Therefore.
No.
Who cares?
Look around at the world. What do you see? A planet on the brink of collapse. Human beings are disposable.
Here's the biggest problem with the movie. The symbiote, Venom, will not shut the fuck up. He talks entirely too much in the movie. He's constantly talking to Brock. We constantly see this from a first-person perspective, from Brock's perspective, so we're always hearing the symbiote every single time he's talking to Eddie. There's even in the end credit scene, there's a completely unnecessary part where Tom Hardy's riding his motorcycle up to a prison. It should have just been silent.
Yes.
And that would have been a beautiful shot, but all of a sudden you hear, "All right, Venom, this is a me thing, not a you thing, so you be quiet, okay?" Okay, I guess so. We didn't need that. The first time Venom talks to Brock and Brock is aware that it's like another entity, it's a reflection in a car window, right? Every other time after that, the head comes out of him and twists and looks at him and goes, "Hey guy, I'ma fucking use you for now, but then you fucked me."
See, I thought the first part of the movie was fine and good, and it was building up, and I was like, why does everybody hate this? This is a good movie so far. I was like, this is actually really good.
Even the score was fine. It was going for like a horror, thriller, action sort of vibe.
We went thinking we were gonna hate it. When the whole first part was happening, I was like, oh, I'm gonna love this movie. So far, this is like really cool, like when he escaped and everything. And then Venom talked, and I swear to God, from the first point Venom talked, the movie just broke. Like our chairs. It's cringe.
Every time he talks, I cringed.
It reminded me...
I either cringed or laughed.
It reminded me of the crocodile guy from Suicide Squad. The entire time, his one-liners and like the attitude.
For the crocodile guy?
Y'all, I live underwater.
Oh,
y'all are just...
Gator.
Yeah, y'all are just visitors.
Killer Croc?
Killer Croc.
Yeah,
Gator.
Gator. He ends up getting fired for trying to expose this billionaire that owns a special lab in San Francisco. Eddie Brock goes in, takes some pictures of the people that are suffering because of the...
There's also a part with a bunny. Just thought I should say that. Go on.
That's right. The very first experiment we see with Venom being joined with an animal, it's a rabbit. And then the evil lab owner guy threatens that woman, lab woman. So she gets like strong-armed into doing human trials. People die. So she goes to Eddie Brock and is like, "Oh, you gotta help, you gotta help." "I can't. I'm a bigger piece of shit than I was before."
He ends up doing it.
Then tries to break someone out because he recognizes her behind the glass.
Homeless lady.
So she grabs him, transfers over to him. He runs, he starts noticing he can run really fast, he can jump really high, he can smash through things. He doesn't know what's going on. It's all the movie like, "Oh, I have superpowers and I don't really know how to use them yet."
Movie's still good at this point.
He climbs a tree, he like gets away from the secret militia guys. It's a little cheesy, but it's still fine. And then Eddie Brock beats them all up, jumps on his motorcycle, And then
The movie.
the movie just stops giving a fuck. This is my favorite scene.
Oh, wait, is it the one where I had to shut you up?
They see a drone, and the drone is clearly owned by the militia guys. Then all of a sudden the drone starts coming right at him, flying right at him. He ducks out of the way, and the fucking drone explodes.
And he's cracking up, and he's like, what?
Like, what the fuck
And
was that?
I'm like, babe, stop. Babe, shh, shh, shh. Because he's cracking up, and the theater's like silent.
So then he jumps on his motorcycle, starts to fly away. All of a sudden, like
more.
20 drones start to like
And I'm like,
tornado out of
and I'm
the
just
van.
like, no, 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 no,
And I'm already
no.
like clapping
no,
and laughing.
No, 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 no.
Tom Hardy's blasting away, and just drone after drone is just flying on him, exploding, hitting cars, killing people, destroying city property.
Just these little plastic remote control drones that like everyone has.
They look
just
like the-
consumer brand.
Yeah, they look like those
drones.
toy ones you can buy
Yeah.
at like Toys R
And they're
Us.
fucking blowing up, and Greg is losing his shit. No, no,
That's
'cause
not
I
even a
knew,
thing.
I knew
That's not a
they were.
thing.
I knew they were all gonna explode, and I knew that I would have to calm him down because if he laughed at one exploding, how am I gonna deal with 20?
It then turns into a car chase.
Yes.
And that part's awesome.
It was like a boomer wrote it.
Sony is so incompetent when it comes to scripts. Holy fuck, the dialogue is always terrible, especially the jokes.
Yeah.
Their sense of humor is just fucked.
It's so basic. It's like almost. It's like one step above like fart humor.
It's like lowest common denominator. Tom Hardy was the funniest thing about the movie, but he shouldn't have been.
The movie's tone was kind of all over the place because like I thought it was gonna be like serious, but then
Well, it
every time Venom
starts off-
spoke, it was like comedy, and I'm like,
The way they use humor, the way they inject humor, it's so tone deaf, and usually it makes me cringe.
we cringed quite a lot.
There was a lot to cringe at.
Suicide Squad was so bad it's bad, but I would give this a so bad it's good. So if you like it, that's fine. I understand. It was a fun movie,
Oh, the CGI was also garbage.
but
Can we talk about how bad
Fuck.
the CGI was?
yes.
Venom was fucking garbage.
What was that?
Venom and then the evil Venom.
Can we talk about evil Venom?
Same problem with Black Panther,
Yes!
where the final fighting scene is just PS2 graphics.
And they're both the same thing.
Oh, and then they start gooing at each other, and then they kind of just become this goo mess. It's worse than Transformers. You have no idea what you're
Can I
looking
talk
at.
about the part where I left the hardest? Can we
might have
talk
been the
about
part where I-
me?
No, you're right. I was supposed to ask her what her favorite part was. So, what was your favorite part?
My favorite part was when Venom and Evil Venom finally meet in their Venom forms, and they both crash down and look at each other, and you see one Venom go, "This is something, something," and the other Venom goes, "No." And they sound exactly the fucking same. They have
the
the
same
same
voice
voice,
actor.
same voice, same everything. It was like I was watching like a YouTube poop or something. It was like the most bizarre and stupidest shit I've ever seen.
But man and symbiote combined. This is a new race, a new species. A higher life form.
This isn't like a movie with a twist or anything.
Okay,
feel like-
so fuck it. Just spoilers from now on because I can't be bothered. Eddie Brock is basically being held hostage by Venom. He's this totally hapless loser who has no control. He can't negotiate with Venom. Venom's basically making him go to back to a rocket ship so that he can go back to his planet. For no reason, Venom just lets Eddie Brock go back to his old job office to like leave proof about the evil lab. Venom, we just got this one thing to do, and Venom's like, of course, I'm not unreasonable.
Can we just talk about the fact, I want to know if you felt this way too. Did it feel like we pressed scene skip like a few times and all of a sudden we were at a different part of the movie, like out of nowhere?
That's what I was saying, that
I
they
feel
rushed
like-
the whole fall from grace part. They don't set things up properly.
It's like I blinked and all of a sudden like the movie was completely different and I was
It's
like,
got-
how did that
It's
happen?
got the Zack Snyder attitude where he's like, I showed it on screen, therefore it's set up. They have to break in because the security guard won't let them in. And then when they get down to the bottom floor again, there's a whole SWAT team waiting for them. The whole room fills with smoke. CGI fest, jumping all over the place. Just
I think I know what
I
you're
like
getting at.
totally just checked out. So he's holding the guy up, Then all of a sudden, his ex-girlfriend shows up.
Can I?
How did she know where he was?
She runs over.
And she's dressed like a schoolgirl for some reason.
Eddie, are you okay? I'm sick. Hospital! Deadass, that was the line.
It's so incompetent.
We looked at each other and we were like, what?
She drives him to the hospital, gets the symbiote off of him by accident because they realize that the sound from the MRI machine pulls the symbiote off. Eddie has been kidnapped by the militia guys, taken back to the lab. This is when we find out that the evil lab guy has been infected by his own symbiote. Eddie Brock's sitting there with no symbiote on. And
Tom Hardy's in the woods.
how did he get in the woods?
They like pushed him out into the woods.
Oh, they were gonna take him out into the woods to
kill
execute him. And as they're sitting there with the gun on him, just like, why didn't he just execute him? He like stood there for so long.
Because they talk and then...
He stood there for so long, just
like
pointing the
every
gun
movie.
right at
It's
Eddie
every
Brock's fucking
movie.
face. And Eddie Brock's like doing his dumb, oh, I'm a funny guy. You see the Venom goo come up from behind and kind of pick the guys off one by one. I'm a so funny guy. I'm a funny guy. And the guy's just like,
Rule 63 Venom comes out of nowhere. Lady Venom with curves and tits and starts making out with Tom Hardy. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? It's turned into DeviantArt out of nowhere. And then Tom Hardy turns into Venom again. Like, that's how the symbiote traveled, like, from his ex. It was his ex as Venom. I was like, why has Venom got titties? What is happening?
Yeah,
Why is Venom hot? It was like the tongue, and I was like, what is this awakening inside of me? Female Venom fetish.
We cannot just hurt people.
Look into my eyes, Eddie. The way I see it. We can do whatever we want. Do we have a deal?
The movie just keeps getting more broken.
okay, so the only reason Venom wants Tom Hardy is because Tom Hardy is the best DNA match that he can find. So for no reason, Venom decides to save the world. What? The world's at peril? Like, what is going on? The eviler Venom is gonna destroy the world, but I won't let that happen. What changed your mind? You did, Eddie.
I'm a loser like you
So
on my planet.
In like
what?
a 3-second period, we find out that Venom's a loser like Eddie Brock, that the world is in peril,
That he wants to save
and that
the world.
Venom is willing to be good to save the world, and that just all happens in like 3 lines.
Can somebody, because maybe we blunked and we missed it. But can someone please explain why evil Venom and Venom were all of a sudden like fighting? Why did that happen?
That
Can
wasn't
someone-
set up. There was no reason for us to believe
Why were they
that those
enemies?
two Venoms.
Somebody please.
See, Venom
Maybe
doesn't.
we missed it.
Venom doesn't work as a loser that's down on his luck. Venom has to be vengeance.
Maybe there's gonna be Venom 2 where we find out what happened on his planet. The same thing happened. Broke up with his Venom girlfriend, lost his Venom job. Now he's gonna save the world so he could be a cool guy. Was that his motivation? Somebody please explain. There had to be a script rewrite or something. Something was weird.
They go to the rocket ship to stop the eviler Venom.
Oh, this part.
So then Venom's like, let's go save the world. And then he starts CGIing over to the CGI.
This is like this right here's the fight.
This is the fight scene. Then all of a sudden they go, and then they all fall off. Tom Hardy and the scientists, they're devoid of their symbiotes, and all of a sudden they just start hurling punches at each other. Like, that means anything at this point.
And then the evil Venom gets into the rocket ship. He's about to blast off, and regular Venom climbs onto the rocket ship, and regular Venom kills.
So regular Venom looks at eviler Venom through the window, and they can somehow talk to each other through the space glass,
Yes.
which is not possible. Oh, also, it is in flight,
Yeah, the rocket's going off.
so that conversation's impossible. And the eviler Venom is like, you're such an asshole. Fuck you. And then good Venom goes, have a nice life. And then he destroys the rocket and it kersplodes. And June and I were both like, have a nice life? Immediately before killing him? What the fuck does that mean? And then I remembered, it was a callback. But evil Venom wasn't
There.
in the room for the first time that it was said.
Because usually the hero will say something to the villain that will call back.
The hero is supposed to literally repeat a line that the villain said to him. But the villain wasn't in the room when this line was said. It was what his boss said to him when he fired him.
His boss said, have a nice life.
So evil
a nice
Venom
life.
died confused and alone. And that's the end of the movie.
No, the end of the movie is even worse than that.
Okay.
It's not completely awful.
You have no idea how much you're scaring me right now.
Eddie, cooperate. And you just might survive.
So we're led to believe that good Venom died. Eddie Brock's talking to his ex-girlfriend and they're like, we should totally hook up. Nah. Because every movie has to have a on again, off again, maybe, maybe not, hot and cold, not quite relationship that may or may not work out because people don't know how to write movies anymore.
The end of the movie is so beyond anticlimactic, it's not even funny. It ends on the most milquetoast, random, it's almost like some happy-go-lucky sitcom. Like, I had no idea what the fuck was happening. He's just walking down the street with Venom in his mind. Venom's like, we should get something to eat.
Oh great, he's not dead. That means there'll be a sequel. So Tom Hardy's girlfriend's like, are you all right? Because she can tell that he's talking to the symbiote again. He's like, oh no, everything's fine. And he leaves right as this was happening. And I was like, I can't believe we made it all the way through the movie and they didn't do a Stan Lee cameo. And right then they did the Stan Lee cameo.
It was awful.
And it was the worst one ever. You and your girlfriend are good together. Tom Hardy pets Stan Lee's dog and walks away.
It was extremely forced. And they're usually not forced. They're usually like, oh, Stan Lee, he invented comics. Jack's films.
The last one that we saw was Ant-Man, and that was the best one ever.
Yes.
And then this one was like not even,
forced.
it was nothing. It wasn't funny.
It
It
was
wasn't
almost-
meaningful. It was just basically beating something into the audience's head that the audience already knew.
almost like
You and your girlfriend are good together. Ah.
It's almost like they forgot to put it in there, and then at the last minute they were like, oh shit, throw Stan
Well, that
Lee in
whole
there.
scene reeked of being filmed weeks after.
Yes.
Like they forgot to fucking conclude the
Yeah.
film and forgot to call
Yes.
Stan Lee.
Exactly. Some of my favorite one-liners.
Oh, okay.
Besides Have a Nice Life, because that was like incredibly
was-
memorable. Venom talking to Tom Hardy about eviler Venom. He does some shit you wouldn't believe. It was Suicide Squad as fuck. He does some shit you wouldn't believe, man.
That was the line that is a warning to the audience that eviler Venom is more powerful.
And of course, I'm a loser like you. On my planet, I'm a loser like you.
Fuck, that was probably the worst line in the movie. And you know what? I don't even want to say that because there's so many terrible
There are a
lines.
lot.
Honestly, there are so many bad ones that I can't even remember any of
Me
them.
neither. They all morph together.
They're all equally terrible.
Remember the one in their lab in the beginning of the movie and he's like, Isaac, that's a religious name.
Oh no.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
The fucking villain literally explains the metaphor to the audience. That's a biblical name. Do you know what happened to Isaac? Got sacrificed by his daddy, but that was to show how loyal he was to the Lord. So I'm gonna sacrifice you.
Fuck. I honestly just have why was female Venom hot on this page. That is the only thing on this page. Still wondering.
What the hell are you? We are Venom.
There's one part in every superhero movie where the hero takes control of their powers for the first time and gets some form of revenge on somebody that fucked them over earlier in the movie. The only person that he gets revenge on is that gang member that keeps taking money from his favorite convenience store clerk. And that doesn't happen until literally before the end credits roll. So this is the scene that's in the trailer, the turd in the wind. So everybody was making fun of how the turd in the wind metaphor doesn't make sense, and that's
Oh,
like
that was in the trailer?
Yeah, that line isn't even the worst line in that scene. As soon as he turns the Venom and starts tough-talking the guy, everything he says is cringe, hilarious, terrible.
It's like a 12-year-old on Xbox wrote it.
And after like a minute of tough-talking this guy, he's all of a sudden like, never mind, and then eats him.
I thought he'd just scare the guy and the guy would run away. He's just robbing someone. That's like something the police deal with.
So the get revenge, get control of my powers scene is immediately ruined. They want you to feel like that guy deserved to die, but that's not him getting his comeuppance.
Not being eaten. He got 8. Bitch got 8.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
I
worth.
can't wait to watch it again.
Yes, exactly. This is what I'm saying. It was so bad it's good. It's a so bad it's good. Unlike Suicide Squad, which I can't even fucking watch again.
Speaking of which, James Gunn in talks to do Suicide 2.
It's gonna be a good movie, probably, maybe.
Warner Brothers, make the right decision. Hire James Gunn.
You'll see. You'll see if it's
His
good or not.
fans love him. We love him because he's willing to cross the line. That's what they need. Sony does the same thing too. They do this thing where they kind of act like they're being edgy, like they're crossing the line, but it's from like a 12-year-old's perspective.
I'ma eat your head.
It's like a 12-year-old's idea of crossing the line. Do you know what would have been perfect? Is a fucking rated R Venom.
Yes. How would you actually rate it out of 10?
It's a 2.
Really, I give it a 4. It was fun.
Oh, I had so much fun.
Stupid, but stupid.
But this is why I usually don't do a 1 to 10 on movies like this. I do a scale. So talented. Lucky man.
Anyway, the movie sucked. The end.
That being said, though, this was the best comedy of 2018. I laughed so fucking hard.
See it with your friends when it comes out on DVD or whatever. Have a you cringe, you drink party or something. That's how you will enjoy this movie. You okay, baby?
Why was Tom Hardy's girlfriend a schoolgirl?
Are you complaining?
Oh, no.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Thank you for watching. You guys know the drill. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, please consider supporting Armoured Media through Patreon and by buying our merch. The links are in the description.